All right. Good morning, you guys. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Batching and Planning. Rochelle and I are actually excited to bring a little bit different to you guys today. We want to touch on a topic. I actually asked Rochelle to touch on this a little bit more because I feel like she has been really transitioning with this and doing very well with figuring out the rhythm and finding her routine and power hour and structure and non-negotiables. And so I really wanted her to touch on this before we dive in, you guys, because I think it's great that we sit here on this planning Zoom and we get all of our topics together and we get all of the things ready. But I think where we struggle, and I think maybe a lot of you can relate, is actually figuring out the time you're going to work this business, figuring out the time you're going to actually put out the content that you are planning right now. So Rochelle, go ahead and take it away. I wanted you to touch on this, so I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much, but I kind of touched on this on one of the Monday night Zooms, you guys. And I was talking about you need to look at your days and figure out when are you the most productive? When do you have the biggest chunk of time? When do you have the most energy? So for me, that's the mornings. And it comes down to I don't wake up 2 hours before my kids because I want to. I love my sleep, right? I do it because I know that's when I'm going to get the most work done. That's when my energy is the highest. That's when I can get the most done. And so when in your day, Christina, hold on one second.
And before Rochelle comes back and really touches on this, you guys, this is so important. And I want to say this too, before she really dives in, figuring out when you're going to work your business. And it's okay if you need to unplug. I'll be real with you guys. Yesterday morning, I woke up and I wasn't feeling my best self, and I had a wedding to go to. I had a lot of things to do. The weather changes for me kind of bring on some things. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to unplug most of the morning. So I popped in my stories a little bit, but I unplugged. I read my book. I just kind of was with my family, my husband. I put my phone away because I just needed it mentally and so many other things. But guess what, you guys, just because I was unplugged until almost 3 something, I was kind of in and out, but I was really, really unplugged for the most part. I then got back on and made sure I got all of my IPAs done, all of my non-negotiables done. I'm doing the the 90-day challenge that Lindsay put out for Limitless. So I made sure my post was up, my reel was up. I made sure I did my IPAs. I did my focused IPAs. And guess what time I did that, you guys? I did that at 9 something at night because that's what worked for me that day. I needed the morning off. So Rochelle, carry on.
I'm so sorry. Listen, my husband is out hunting this morning, and I swear this always happens to me. When my kids know that I'm on a Zoom, that's when they want to horse around on my bed. And my son, the 3-year-old, always ends up falling off. I'm like, honey, my Zooms are Sunday mornings. Can you please, I know it's hunting season, but come on, you got to help me out a little bit here. So yes, I do my stuff in the morning. So identify throughout the day, it doesn't, just because mornings work for me doesn't mean they work for you. Maybe you have a 9 to 5. And I had someone say this to me recently. So she has a 9 to 5. She can't get on the morning work with me's, and she doesn't get on. I was like, okay, well, are you getting on the evening work with me's? And she was like, no, because I feel like it's too late by that time. It's too late in the day to work my business. And I'm like, girl, no, there is no right or wrong time to work your business. You have 24 hours in a day. Whenever it works for you, that's when it works for you. That's when you need to sit down and work. So mornings for me. And then when my kids wake up, I've already got all my non-negotiables done, my self-development, my posts, my products on my stories. I've checked in with my team. I've cleared my messages. My kids wake up, I'm in mom mode for 2 to 3 hours, right? Until my son goes down for a nap. And then I know I've got at least a 2-hour chunk where, again, I can sit down and I can work my business. And then for me, because I am a mom, I know my daughter gets out of school at 3:30. And so the evenings, I can't get on the work with me's because I'm doing dinner and bath time, bedtime, and sometimes she has dance. And so it really just comes down to first of all, on these Zooms, figuring out what you're doing throughout your week. And so when she puts down the background work and the work with me and just everything, getting very clear on what you have to do throughout the week. And then identifying those times in your day that works for you. Again, it does not matter if it's first thing in the morning, if it's in the middle of the day, or if it's late at night. It does not matter. There is no right or wrong time. And when those times come, you have to set those boundaries, and you have to be disciplined and sit down and like really focus in and know what you're doing. And so I know for a lot of us, so focused IPAs, you guys are huge, because I know for me, and I wanted to touch on this too. How many of you like, okay, so we're programmed to like, we sit down, right? Whether it be on the couch or at the kitchen table or in the car, like we're programmed to like pick up our phone and just start. Like, I feel like for me, I just have to be doing something with my hands. And so my phone is always the first thing that I pick up when I get a second, and we catch ourselves scrolling, right? This is where you need to like set those boundaries and create that discipline. And for me, it's like when I catch myself scrolling, I become aware of it, and I'm like, okay, I either need to like put my phone down, or I need to turn this into something productive. And that's where those focused IPAs come in. So make sure that you're assigning a focused IPA each day. So just some examples of focused IPAs: 3-2-1s, interactions, and growing your network. Okay. I assign one to each day. And when I catch myself scrolling, I will make myself, I'm like, okay, it's time to go grow our network. Like, we're going to be productive here. Same thing when I like sit down on the couch at night, I grab my phone and I'm like, okay, before I allow myself, because at nighttime is when I do allow myself to like, just kind of, scroll for like pleasure, if you will. But I like make it a game with myself. I'm like, okay, we're going to do like 5 to 10 minutes of our focused IPA before we can just like go down the TikTok rabbit hole. You know what I mean? So Christina, I don't know if you want to add anything to any of this. I kind of did not have anything planned, but I think, just become aware of your times throughout the day that work for you, and set like office hours is what I call it, for yourself, and just have like a clear vision of, do you need to create story content that day? Do you need to go unfollow some people? Do you need to go create highlights? Do you need to create reels? Like, what do you have to do? And then assign times throughout the day. If you have to, what I did for a while was like, my planner has like a time, like it has the times down the side. I would take highlighters and I would like highlight, I would like block off like, okay, this is nap time. So like, these are my office hours. This time Baylor's usually playing independently. So I'm going to highlight off, this is like my house chore hours. Like, do it for like, it doesn't need to just be for work, but like start structuring your days around like what you have going on, and just have like a good idea of when you're going to be doing what. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love it, you guys. And like I said yesterday, for example, I decided I wanted to take the morning off. That was not planned. I woke up, I was feeling off, and I was like, you know what, mentally, I just need to be right. But I knew what needed to get done. So I worked later at night. I also am more creative at night. I work better most of the time at night. I am a night owl. So for me, I would get into comparison because I sleep in a little bit, right? I don't wake up bright and early. So my posts aren't going out until later on in the day. So then I started to get into this comparison, like, well, crap, my stories aren't up the same time Lindsay's stories are up, because she's up with a 2-3-year-old at 5 a.m. sometimes. And I'm rolling out of my bed at 10 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, I started to get in this comparison, and then I realized, no, this is my business and I work it in my hours and my structure, because guess what? Sometimes when they're sleeping, I'm still awake, right? I'm still working at 12, 10, whatever time, not because I'm just like a workaholic, but because that's the way I work. Sometimes I work better at night. So figure out, like Rochelle said, when is the best time to work it? Now, here's the thing, you guys, I will say, getting it done first thing in the morning, which a majority of my time, all of my IPs and everything like that are done first thing in the morning. Why do I do that? Because then the rest of my day is a focused IPA. I don't feel guilty. I don't worry about my business. Like yesterday was a rare occasion, but guess what? Near the end of the night, I was like, okay, I need to get to work. I need to get to work. So I like knocking that out in the beginning of the day, just because then it's done. So figure out what works for you. Maybe you do have a 9 to 5. I don't know about you, but do you get a lunch break? Maybe you can dedicate your lunch break to your IPAs. Maybe you can't. Maybe it is waking up before your kids. Maybe it is. I have one girl that we used to talk about this, and she used to work from home, and she ended at 4:00. And she said she felt like then life got so busy after. And I said, okay, so when you unplug from your day job, can you sit there for another 45 minutes and work your IPAs? And then you clock out at 4:45 or 5 o'clock and then go be the mom that you need to be and do the things that you need to do. And she was like, oh my God, yeah, I'll just shift from 9 to 5 mode right into my business mode because I'm already sitting there, and then I'll knock those out, because she didn't have time during the day. Right. So she then just sat at her desk, finished her hours of her IPAs, and then she did what she needed to do after. So figure out what works for you. And for this Zoom today, right now, I want you to go look at the work with me's. So look at the work.
Can I add something about IPAs too? This is just really quick. It doesn't matter what time of day you do IPAs, whether you do them in the morning or you do them in the evening. No matter what, when you get them done, your business is working itself in the background. It does not matter what time that is. If you're doing them in the morning, okay, well, your business is working itself in the background the entire day and night until you come back in the morning and do them again. If you do them in the evening, it's working throughout the night and then into the morning and all throughout the day again until you do them in the evening. So it literally, like, it does not matter what time of day you do it, as long as you just do them. Like, pick a time. And I think that's something too. It's like, if you want, we always talk about like treating this like a business. If you want this to pay you like a business, you have to treat it like a business. Well, when you work a 9 to 5, like, you have hours, you have like a schedule, right? And so you have to create that within your business too. Like, pick a time where you're going to sit down and do your IPs and do it at the same time every single day. So I just wanted to add that.
No, I love that, you guys. And that's the truth. I actually was thinking that, Rochelle, and we always say her and I are on the same page, because I was thinking that about how a 9 to 5 is structured, right? You clock in, you clock out, you get paid. The problem with this is, you guys, you don't have somebody telling you what time you have to clock in or clock out, but you do want to get paid, right? So you do have to make hours. You do have to set aside time. So the work with me schedules can be found in the team pages and the announcements. So if you're in Limitless, it's going to be right at the top. You'll see all of our work with me times. And then if you're in Lionhearted, you'll see it there. If you're in another team, you'll see it probably in your announcements. But what I want you to do right now is, I'm going to mute myself, and just a quick shout out for the Limitless ones, because I know those by heart. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then there are weekend ones as well. I don't have those memorized, but I think it's 9 a.m. on Saturday and 6 p.m. I think on Sunday. Perfect.
Right.
Standard Time. So right now, I want you guys to go. And if you're not getting on a work with me, I want you to look at your calendar, and I want you to decide your work with me time. What time are you working your business every single day this week? Before we plan, before we get all into it, when are you going to work your business for everything that we're about to do after and plan for? So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, look at your schedule, look at the work with me Zooms, and figure out when you're working your business.
Yeah, so Sam put a comment in here. So the Tuesday work with me is canceled because there is a 2-hour goat training, which let me go into the chats, or if someone knows it right now, go ahead and drop that goat training, the times in the chat. I'm not sure of it, so I'll find it right now and drop it if nobody does first. But yeah, Tuesday nights is canceled.
It's 7:30 to 9:30.
7:30 Eastern, I'm assuming. Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. So now we all have our work with me times, or you should be getting that together. And we're going to now dive into actually planning our week. So what do we mean by that? That is figuring out those pain points that you want to talk about, figuring out what life posts you want to talk about, figuring out what branding fives of who you are that you want to put out there. You guys remember, it's not just thrive. Okay. It is not just thrive. You need to let people know who you are. People join people. People join people they know, people join people they like, and people join people that they trust. Okay. So you need to make sure that you are, showing who you are as well. And on top of being a thriver, being in this business, building this business, what these products are doing for you, don't forget to lose that other side of you. Okay. So I want you to look at your pain points, look at your fives, and what do you want to talk about this week? Remember, pain points are stories. They are you. They are things that you struggled with or are struggling with, and what these products or this business is going to do for you. Tell a story, peel back those layers. It can be as simple as living out of laundry bins and how you felt like you never had the energy to like actually do the laundry after a full schedule and a 9 to 5 and running after the kids. And so you were constantly living out of a laundry bin, which also made you feel like chaos in your mind. And these products have allowed you the energy to get that laundry done. And you just feel like a cleaner home has put you in such a better place. Do you know that every time I start talking about that, how many people I have in my inbox that are like, oh my God, the same? Like, I need a clean home. I need a clean environment. For the longest time, you guys, I thought I had to look like a hot mess because I felt like I heard somebody preaching, like, just show up a hot mess express. Like, your house is lived in, it's not Pinterest perfect and all of that. And so I was like over here, like, okay, I guess I need to like have messes and everything. And my brain couldn't handle that. I like a clean home. I like organization. Right? Is my house perfect? No, I have my little, like my corners, and I have my like clutter chaos that's put together. But when I started actually talking about that, people started to relate to that. Like, oh my gosh, girl, like when my house is a disaster, I am in a bad mental place. And I'm like, yes, me too. So I'm constantly picking up behind myself. I'm doing multiple cleanups throughout the day, that sort of thing. Do you guys see, like, I was trying to be somebody else because somebody else was a hot mess express, and that's how they lived, and they could work with it, and they were fine with it, and it didn't bother their mental place, but yet it bothers mine. And I was trying to be them, and then realize all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, like I am falling apart in here because I'm trying not to look like this Pinterest perfect house, but really I'm not doing it for the gram. I do it for my mental spot. And I say that now. I don't come on here all glammed up or anything for you. I do it for me. It makes me feel better. Right? So stop trying to be somebody else's bubble and square, and be your own self, because you are going to find the people that relate to you. And that has been one of my biggest things this last season for myself that I have learned, right? There's already so many other people out there. There's only one Christina, right? So go be you. So when you are posting, I want you to post from your fives, from your pain points, from what makes you. Tell your story. Okay. Because somebody needs to hear your voice, your words. Right. So go ahead. I'm going to mute myself, and I want you to decide these next 5 days what you want to post about, what you want to talk about. Maybe it's going to be a post. Maybe it's going to be a reel. Maybe it's going to be a live. Maybe you're just on a piece of notepad paper and you're just jotting down some ideas right now because you're like, I'm going to wait and see what flows with me. Right. So I want you guys right now, I'm going to mute myself. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Let's figure out what we want to talk about. So have your fives list with you, have your pain points with you. So if you're not sure about, oh, sorry, Rochelle.
No, keep talking. You're good.
If you're not sure about your pain points yet, like you're like, well, I don't know, I'm just getting comfortable. Start with your fives, right? Start with what those fives are and what that is that brought you to this business and brought you to this, to the products, right? And then maybe just start pulling a little bit back. So if you say it's energy, think of a time you lacked energy. What did that look like for you? Now, what does it look like with the products? That's exactly what a pain point is. It's sharing a then and a now, or it's sharing how you feel now and where you're going forward, right? So go ahead, Rochelle. Sorry.
Okay, so are you ready, Christina? You're gonna love this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so this is something new that I am doing, and Lindsay kind of helped me put this together. And I think, don't quote me, but I think that we're gonna be adding this to the playbook as like an extra page for those of you who want it. But I'm planning my week a little bit different. So I've got a content map here, is what I'm calling it. So I like mapped out what I want my content to look like the Monday through Sunday. So I've got a column here for my focused IPAs. So I've assigned a focus IPA Monday through Sunday, which we talked about at the beginning of this. And then I've got my posting topics. So I've got what I want to, so Mondays before Thrive is what I'm going to pull from tomorrow. And just like Christina said, so I've got these topics, right? But then I'm going to break them down into pain points. So I'm going to peel back those layers. So Mondays before Thrive, I'm going to go back to a time, like a specific time or like moment or something that happened before Thrive on a Monday, and I'm going to share that story tomorrow. Tuesday's weekly pay. Wednesday, I've got pick a product 5. Thursday, I've got pick a comp plan 5. Friday, how the products make me feel. Saturday, what Thrive has done for me. And then Sunday, I'm going to share about my why. So that's what I've got for my post topics. And then I have my story focus. So Monday, I'm going to focus on samples. Tuesday, it's going to be weekly pay. Wednesday, I'm going to go back to samples. Thursday, why this company. Friday, Thrivers results. So I'm going to share like before and afters and then offer samples again. And then Saturday, I'm kind of like, if there's a promo, I'm going to share about the promo. If not, I'm going to create my own through a bundle, which we talked about on a recent Zoom. And then Sunday, I'm going to talk about how life is different for me today versus like 3 years ago when I didn't have Thrive. So I've literally got my content for the week all mapped out on this little piece of paper right here. And then right now I'm just going in, filling it into my planner, and then I'm putting those like specific pain points that I'm going to talk about. So I don't know if you're like me, I need it all in one spot. Like I need to be able to look at what I'm doing all in one spot. I can't be flipping through like a million pages or like anything like that. So this little piece of paper is going to save me this week. And like I said, I love how it's all right there. And Christina, look at how cute. Your little planner heart, I need to send it to you because I'm like, she's gonna love this. She's gonna be so proud.
Y'all, and she drops it right now. Do you see she's all holding out on us? No, I love it. I love it. So you guys, that's the thing. So see, and here's what I want to share with you. Guess how Rochelle got there? Rochelle got there by planning in a planner, planning on notepads, planning on Post-it notes, planning on pieces of paper. And then she
Planning in
realized
apps.
as she went through what?
I said planning in apps. Remember when I was like going through that phase where I was using the Microsoft To Do on my phone?
Yes, right. But guess what? She failed her way forward to something that now gets her exactly what she needs. So do you see when we say there's no wrong way to plan? Because guess what? Even when she was planning on Post-its and other papers, she was still producing her content. She was still getting it out there. She was still working her business. She was still changing lives. So do you see when I say to you guys, there is no wrong way to plan? Find your way to plan. Because what works for Rochelle and I being very pen to paper, you may be somebody who's like, I like to go in the moment. I like to speak in the moment. I like to just write from my heart. That's just how I do. Okay, cool. Right? So do you guys see there's no wrong way to plan? So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and map out the rest of your week with your pain points and things that you want to talk about. And if you guys are looking for something similar to what Rochelle was just kind of talking about, in your playbook, there is a page that talks about like things to post about. It's you can go right there too if you're struggling with what to post about. It gives you story ideas. It gives you, I don't have my playbook right in front of me. I have my pages that I work off of every day, but not that page. But it's right in your playbook. So if you go through your playbook, it is like basically like a weekly example of what to talk about. It even has focused IPAs on there and everything like that. So if you need something right now for the meantime, while it sounds like Rochelle and them are getting that one figured out and a little bit more primed and ready, it's right there for you guys. And while you're also planning out your to-dos of what you want to talk about, also look at your weekly goals and also think about what you want to talk about in your stories. So if you want to mimic what's on your news feed, so if you're talking about energy on your news feed and you want to talk about energy in your stories, do that. You guys, it doesn't matter how you flow, just as long as you find what works for you and work your business how it works for you. Don't get too caught up trying to be somebody else. Just try to pull exactly what they're doing. So like when I watch other Thriver stories, like I watch Rochelle's stories, for example, because I get a lot of inspo from her and Lynn's. I don't necessarily always try to mimic exactly what they are talking about, but if they're going to go talk about the products or something like that, I may then be like, okay, I'm going to go talk about the products. Or if they're throwing up a sample thing and I'm like, you know what, I love how they did that. Like Rochelle will do a lot of like talking about herself and then a sample. Then I go and talk about myself. I'm not going to try to create Rochelle's story. And a lot of things too, is that what you can do is if you do pull inspiration from somebody else, and you always feel like, oh my gosh, like I already had content planned, but like I wanted to talk about this today, but I like really like what she's talking about. And I'm supposed to be mimicking her because, you know, that's what we get told sometimes. Write it down and mimic it tomorrow, right? You can be a day or 2 days behind. So a lot of times I will pull things from Michelle or from Lindsay and I'm hitting them a day or two later. Why? Because I'm not somebody that can fly at the seat of my pants and just be like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Because guess what? That mentally makes me a little crazy. Okay. I'm a planner. So a lot of times I can't fly by the seat of my pants and sometimes I can. So what do? I will screenshot it or I will write sticky notes, you guys, and then I put it in my planner. So I will write a sticky note and be like, talk business. And I will listen to Lindsay's things and I will jot down little notes that I want to talk about. And then I'm going to talk about it tomorrow or the next day. Like yesterday, for example, Lindsay went and talked boldly about the VIP bonuses and the bonuses right now. That wasn't on my radar to do yesterday. So guess what's on my radar to do today? Talk about the business, talk about the VIP, and talk about the bonuses. But I also try to mimic her. And I didn't get in my head because I didn't mimic exactly what she did yesterday. I'm doing it today. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And I'm only saying this because if I'm in my head sometimes about it, I know one of y'all are sometimes in your head about it. So I want to make sure that I got some fingers pointing at themselves. So I'm glad I said it. So I want you to always know when we say mimic, it doesn't mean exactly at that moment, but just make sure you're getting that content up, right?
And I just confirmed with Lindsay, you guys, the content map will be in the Limitless team page by tonight. She's just got to make a couple like changes to it. And then it'll be up and everyone will be able to access it.
How are we feeling so far, you guys? I know we've thrown a lot at you. So if you guys want to just let me know if you need a little bit more time in the chat, let me know that. You guys can always circle back to, we are getting a little bit deeper into our planning Zooms, which is really great. I think a lot of you guys like it and want more of that, of the batching and the planning. But it also, you know, we are limited in our hours. So we I try to squeeze a lot and pack a lot in here as much as Rochelle and I can. So let me know if you guys need a little bit more time. If not, we're going to move on to planning out our focused IPAs, our background work, and so on. All right, so I have nobody saying they need more time. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the background work in the chat. You guys, if you don't have this, this is right in your playbook. Okay, so this is right in your playbook, the things that you should be doing and putting and working on. So there's multiple ways to do this, you guys. You can assign 2 to 3 of them a day. Pick 2 to 3, assign it to your day so you get your IPAs done and get that background work done. You can go ahead and do, maybe you're going to knock out 5 in one day because you have more time one day. So you're going to do 5 in one day. That's okay. The background work, as long as it gets done, you guys, is all that matters. So figure out what works for your schedule. Maybe it's picking 1 to 2 of them. Maybe it's doing a few of them. Maybe today you're going to knock out a lot of that background work. For me, Sundays, a lot of my Sundays are a lot of my background work. Just because the rest of the week, I like to really work on my IPAs, my focused IPAs, and really working my business in that aspect. So I try to get a lot of my background work done now on Sundays.
See, and I'm opposite. I used to do that. I used to take like 2 to 3 hours at least on Sundays and do all of that stuff. And it just didn't work for me. And so I'm polar opposite of that. And I pick like, I would say 2 to 3 a day. And I do them throughout my week. Like even reels, you guys, I used to take Sundays and I used to batch at least 7. So I had one for every single day. And it just didn't work with my schedule. I was too glued to my phone for too long throughout the day. And then like my kids needed me and my housework fell behind. So for me, I take 2 days during the week and I take like 20 minutes is all it takes me. And I get like at least 3 reels in those 20 minutes. So again, like we say, there's no right or wrong way. It's literally whatever works for you. We have 2 totally different ways. And, you know, it works for her. What works for her and what works for me works for me.
Right, guys. So like we said, there's no wrong way to plan, right? I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that. I have a husband who watches football and most of the time is golfing on Sundays. So for me, my Sundays are a very relaxing day. So while I'm waiting for the laundry to get done, I do this kind of stuff. When my husband and I are just sitting there and he's watching football and I'm like there with him, a lot of times I'm scrolling reels and just picking out sounds. You know what I mean? So do you see how you can work this in different areas like of your business? So today we're going to a friend's house to celebrate his birthday. And I will probably do a lot of my background work when we get home. And if not, it'll get pushed to another day. I'll see what I can get done. And then I move things. I don't have, and this is something that maybe some of you guys need to hear too. I don't have 100% concrete. I have moving pieces, right? So if I have things written down today and there are non-negotiables for me, there are things that I have to get done before the day gets done. And I know that that's my IPAs, my focused IPAs, my posting. I'm in the boot camp. I'm doing the boot camp over. So there are things that are non-negotiables for me. And then there's moving pieces. My background work are moving pieces, but are non-negotiables for the week. Do you see what I'm saying? So they have to get done in the week, but they're moving pieces throughout the week, so that I can fit them in where I need to and when I need to. And you guys know, as always, if you need anything, just drop your questions in the chat box and Rochelle and I will answer them. So you guys, when you're planning and looking at your week right now, obviously if you plan that time, like we spoke about in the beginning of this Zoom, you know when a lot of your work is going to be done, right? So it's less overwhelming. The reason why it's very hard for me as a planner to come on and try to give you guys just one solid way to plan. Why? Because there are 40 something of you on here that all have a different style to yourself, right? So you guys keep that in mind when we give you little info or little tidbits or little advice or things like that, take it and make it your own, right? Take it and make it your own and what's going to work for you, and try things out. If you're struggling with your planning, try out the content mapping that's going to be coming out tonight. See if that works for you. Go back to the playbook. Like I said, there's weekly content in the playbook. Try that out. See if that works for you. Try planning on Post-it notes and see if that works for you. Try planning just in your planner. See if that works for you, right? Give things a shot and you'll find your way. Because how I planned 3 weeks ago is different than how I plan now. How I planned a year ago is very different than how I plan now. I'm evolving, always figuring out what works and doesn't work for me. I just started doing the Sunday where I do a lot of my background work, right? And that's working for me right now. Like Rochelle said, she used to do that and realized it didn't work for her and switched it. But you have to try things. So don't be afraid to try something to see if it fits your business or it doesn't fit your business, because that's the only way you're going to grow. Remember how we say you have to fail forward constantly? These little fails are what we're talking about, right? So how are we feeling on the background work, you guys? Everybody getting it in? Feeling good about it? One thing I personally like to do on the side of my my planner, because my planner is like Monday through Friday and then the weekends on a different page. So I have this space right here. I write down like how many lives I want to do, how many times I want to chat about the business in my like live chat story, how many times I want to chat about it, how many times I want to talk about the samples throughout the week, so that I can plan that, but also I can check it off. So some of the things in here, like, you know, that you can do, like if you want to, like, get photo inspiration, create reels, photo filters. If you have that like space on the side of your planner, you can write a lot of those things down from from the background work and then check them off as you do them. Right. So maybe you're somebody that's like, okay, like you're trying to find your way, maybe write them down on the side and then figure out what you're going to do or how you're going to do it. So just some different ways. If you guys have tips or tricks that have worked for you in planning your business, Rochelle and I would love for you to drop them in the chat. And the reason being is because somebody else might find what you're doing or what has worked for you or something that you've changed to help them too. Right? So go ahead, and if you have any tips or tricks, please drop them in the chat for us. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, but we're going to kind of wrap up the rest of this planning. So make sure you have your work with me times in. Again, you guys don't forget, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. are the limitless ones. Tuesday this week is going to be the GOAT training, but normally Tuesday at 8 p.m. Thursday at 8 p.m. and then the Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then there are work sessions with, what do you call it? Lionhearted. Thank you.
I can see that you're struggling there.
Yeah, I'm struggling today. Lionhearted has their own. There's a lot of times people will throw up in the chats, hey, want to do an IPA sesh? And they're throwing up their own Zooms. Like Lindsay said, if you want to, you guys, if you ever want to do your own work with me, throw it up in the chat. See if somebody wants to hop on a Zoom with you, right? See if somebody wants to do a Zoom and just say, hey, I'm going to work my IPAs. Anybody want to hop on a work with me?
Guys, while we're doing that, oh, sorry.
No, you're okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I always think you're done. And then, what was I going to say? While we're doing background work, here come my kids. If you have not done, if you were on a recent Zoom with Lindsay and Hannah Rain, they talked about highlights and bundles and stuff like that. But highlights is what I'm going to talk about right now. If you have not yet gotten up highlights for like your 3 steps specifically, that's a hard word, specifically, not specifically, that's an ocean. I always say that. Your 3 steps, your patches, collagen, just like different product highlights, opportunity highlights, things like that. Please, 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 please schedule that in this week. And the reason that I want you guys to do that is because, one, I think that highlights are a very underrated like resource that we have that we don't use enough of. For example, I did my patches highlights just a couple days ago, right? Like I went on, I showed the patches that I had, I briefly described what they did, talked about and said this is what I mean when they say that these are customizable, said what each one did. Guys, I had 3 people within the first 3 hours that patch highlight was up, message me, existing customers of mine, auto ship customers of mine, message me saying, hey, can we upgrade me to the Black Label next month? Hey, I think that I want that TAC patch next month. Can we change that? 3 customers in the first 3 hours. So if you don't have those highlights up, I think that we think that people don't watch highlights, but they absolutely do. I still to this day have people messaging me off of my opportunity highlight of a story that I posted 30, 40 weeks ago, messaging me, asking me what it is that I do or how that, you know what I mean? Questions like that. So make it a priority this week to get those highlights up. If you need examples, go to my page, go to Lindsay's page. I think Christina has highlights up. Ashley has highlights up. Go look at other people's highlights, take notes if you need to, if you're not sure what you want to say or how you want to word things, take notes and get those highlights up this week.
And something I loved that Lindsay said also about highlights, and then we'll start batching you guys, is having highlights that are also about who you are, right? So if your bio says that you're a mom, if your bio, for example, for me, it says I love fashion and I love hair, having those types of highlights up as well too that describe who you are. So for example, you guys, you can tie in your Thrive stuff to even your other stuff, right? So mine, I have get readies with me where I come on, I'm going to do more makeup stuff and all of that. But guess what? A lot of times I'm talking about how good my skin is because of Thrive. So even though they're coming and hanging out and doing makeup with me, I also drop in there about Thrive. I'm going to start doing, I'm really I have a lot of people that come to me because I wear a halo, which is a fake hair. And I have so many people in my inbox constantly asking me about halos and all this. So I'm going to have a highlight that talks about halos, but in that highlight, I'm going to also talk a lot about collagen. So I might not have a specific collagen highlight, but my halo. So I'm going to bring them in talking about my halo and then keep them also when I talk about my collagen and how much our collagen is changing my hair, but also talking about the halo. So do you see what I'm saying? Maybe you're Target obsessed and you go to Target all the time. Maybe you have the free time to go to Target because of the business, right? So maybe while you're you're always talking about Target, and then you drop in there oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I don't have to worry about coming after 5 o'clock because that's when all the crazies get out, right? I don't know. I'm just kidding. But I get to go during the day. So I think for sometimes for me, for example, I get so worried if I get too heavy talking about my personal life, then I'm not talking about Thrive, but then I go and talk so heavy on Thrive that I forget about my personal life. You can intertwine them so easily and so simply, right? So even though I'm oh my gosh, you guys, the collagen, my Thrive collagen is making my hair grow out. I'm about to grow out another halo. Okay, so help me decide, do I get another longer halo? Right? But I'm dripping on them. right? Same with when I'm doing my get readies for me with my makeup. Oh my gosh, you guys, my skin, I didn't realize how poor my gut health was, that my makeup wears so much better now because of it. So they're going to go through my highlights. They're going to go through that time. And then I'm constantly talking about gut health, right? Every day when I'm talking about my products, or do you get what I'm saying? How your fives also, it's like this, like everything flows together. You loving Target, I'm sure that that extra weekly pay is helping you be at Target. You loving this or whatever is also helping you do that. So do you see how everything, this reminds me of what's that ride at the thing is like the ship. Do you guys ever go on that ride? I don't do rides, but it reminds me of like that ship that just goes back and forth. It's the same thing, right? Everything flows together. So even though my highlights say get ready with me, there's still Thrive in there. Even though my highlight's going to say Halo, there's still going to be Thrive in there. Even though I like boats. Yes, you do, Elaine. Do you get what I'm saying? So even if you have a lot of highlights that have to do with you, I guarantee you're also still dripping in Thrive too. And I will say this before I have the gift to gab today, and I'll shut up and then Rochelle can go. I will say this much, and I totally lost my train of thought. So you guys don't get it because I don't remember what I was going to say. So we're going to go to batching. And if I remember,
Girl brain. No, I was actually going to ask before, and please drop it in the chat because I can't see everybody. Do you guys feel like you need a little bit more time with planning today? I know we kind of threw a lot of different stuff at you. So, because we can't batch unless we have our weeks planned. So if your weeks are not completely planned, like, please let me know now and we will take some more time to do it. And also because we did throw so much at you guys, if you want to kind of do like a little Q&A, we will do that as well. Because again, like we have to be planned before we can batch. So I don't want to just like start setting timers if you guys don't even have your weeks planned. So I'm going to pause for like 30 seconds. And if you guys can just let me know where you want the direction of these last like 8 minutes to go, that would be perfect. Okay, so do we want to go into batching or do we all have things that we can go ahead and batch? Okay, we're good on our planning. All right, so we will, I'll go ahead and set, let's just do like 3. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's just do 3 because we are running low on time. And if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll cover them. So I'll set a timer for 3 minutes and we will batch out a post. Remember, you guys, 2 birds, 1 stone. Turn your posts into stories. Turn your stories into posts. Turn your posts and like your stories into reels. You guys get the point. All right, and then go ahead and drop your pain points in the chat as well. Okay, our timer's about to go off. We have about 15 seconds. Jill, I don't know if you saw my comment. I said, don't take any advice from me because I locked my kids in my room and you guys saw how that went at the beginning of this Zoom. But no, honestly, sometimes I will like, if it's just my son here, I will like set him up next to me with like something to color with, or like a sensory activity or some sort of like blocks, like some sort of independent play. But yeah, lock yourself in your room. It's a good idea too. Okay, so let's go on to our second one. I'm gonna set the timer and let's batch out our second post. Okay, let's go ahead and do our last 3 minutes and then we'll kind of open it up for Q&A like we do typically at the end, and then we will close it up. Yeah, I was just coming here to say exactly what Elaine did. Downline, if you go to your reports and then downline order history, there'll be a green check mark far left under the auto ship column, and that's how you can see which orders were placed through auto ship and which were not. All right, there's the timer on that. Christina, do you have anything that you want to kind of like add or say before we hop off? Like we always say, guys, like uh, it's okay if you didn't finish batching and planning right now. Like I haven't. I still have stuff I need to do. So when we close this up, instead of like getting up and going off and like going about my day, because I know myself and I know that if I don't just sit here for like 10 to 15 more minutes and just finish what I started, that it's not going to get done today. And then tomorrow, Monday's going to come and it's just not going to get done. So I know myself, and this is where like that discipline comes in. And if you want to be like a successful, like entrepreneur, like business owner, you have to master self-discipline. Do you want to add anything?
Just you guys, when you're picking out your personal development too for the week, right? We have our personal development, our IMs, the gratitude, you guys, those are so important. I know those are the easiest things to be like, oh, I don't have time for that. Cause you think working your business, doing your 3-2-1s, your interactions, all of that, you feel like that's working your business more than that stuff. They do go hand in hand, you guys. So make sure that when you're picking out that personal development, like Rochelle said, self-discipline, if you're struggling with that, get some books on habits. Atomic Habits. I know, Rochelle, what is that book you're reading? The Badass Habits, things like that. Get books that are going to work with you where you need to, and know what you need, right? Know what you're struggling with and what you need for your season or just in general. I loved when Lindsay talked about this. She put it in our chat because she made a comment about how she reads money books constantly and over because that's what motivates her. She's not into the mindset. She's not into the people telling her how to work her business and stuff like that. Yes, she listens to that kind of stuff, but for her, she knows what moves her needle. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I actually do read money books, I become a lot more motivated. And so like when she said that, it clicked for me. So I was like, I need to start going back to reading more money books. So what are you going to really work on this week for your personal development? I want you guys to get really clear on that, get clear on your IMs and get clear on that gratitude. Because those are really, really important. If you're not doing those IMs and that gratitude, well, then you're not checking off all your IPA list. Just gonna throw that out there. Okay. But those are really, really important. So I just wanted to touch base on that and add that as just like a last minute thing. Because you guys, I truly will say the months or times when I am not as disciplined in my personal development, my IMs and my gratitude, my business isn't going in the direction that I wanted to, versus when I look at some of my highest enrollment months or months where I felt the most accomplished and things like that, I look back and in those seasons, I noticed I was reading more books. I was plugging into more podcasts. I was plugging into different things. So kind of become aware as well. So not only self-discipline, but become aware and don't be afraid to call yourself out on your own BS. So whatever you didn't do last week, it's left last week, right? Tomorrow, you just planned a whole new freaking week. So go into the week running.
I feel like self-development is the missing link for a lot of people. And I'm sure you guys have heard it before, but if you're new, this industry, what you're doing right here is self-development attached to a paycheck. So if you're not actively working to like better yourself and better like your, you know, like if you're not on your own health and wellness journey, if you're not working to better like the relationships with the people around you and like your marriage and just like how you know, like show up every single day and how you carry yourself and things like that. If you're not actively working to better all of that, then your business, like it's not going to grow because this is self-development attached to a paycheck. You have to actively be working on bettering yourself in all areas of your life. And I know just like Christina, for me, like when I look back at slower seasons, or like the first year of my business when the needle wasn't moving, I wasn't doing self-development or I wasn't taking it seriously. Like I was reading a book just to say I read a book and that I was doing self-development when really like I wasn't actually oh God, words are so hard. I wasn't attaining any of the words that I was reading.
Sounds good to me.
I'm not an English major, okay? I wasn't actually taking anything in because it wasn't something that interested me or it wasn't like the season that I was in. And, you know, like I wasn't journaling during those seasons and like, you know, writing down the things that I'm grateful for and the affirmations. And it seems like if you're new to self-development, it seems silly. And I think it seems silly because it's like an uncomfortable topic. Like it's weird for people to say and uncomfortable for people to say like, yeah, I do self-development like every single morning. But in this industry, it is essential. So like she said, kind of just like be like, get real with yourself, sit with yourself, be like, okay, what season am I in? Do I have like a bunch of money mindset blocks? Okay, let me pick up like a money mindset book or a podcast. Or do I need to create better habits? Pick up a habits book. You know, like there's literally a book for everything. If you're brand new to network marketing, there's literally books that are very specific to network marketing and like the basics of building one and the difference between self-development and business. Yes, there's a huge difference between those two. Huge difference for me. My business self-development looks like Tea for Two because their podcasts to me are so like they're tangible, like they give tangible, tactical examples. Like they don't just say like, you know, you need to like show up for your business. They actually like tell you what showing up for your business looks like. So for me, that's my business development. And then my self-development is like my habits book that I'm reading right now. So anyway, if anyone has any questions, drop them in now. Otherwise, I think we'll go ahead and close this up. Does anyone have anything? I'll give it a second.
And you guys don't forget tomorrow night, Monday's Zoom is going to be with Angela and Lindsay. It's going to be a bomb Zoom. Every time she speaks, you guys, she was the #1 GOAT for 200Ks and our team was the #2. So you're getting literally the top 2 teams collabing on a Zoom. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it can get any better than that. I mean, it does, it gets a lot better. You guys are here with me and Rochelle, so just saying, but, you guys, it's going to be a very, very good Zoom for you to take a lot of notes and walk away with a lot of things for your business. So those are 2 powerful people going to be pouring into you and 2 very different personalities and things like that. So you're going to get a lot of like a red and blue and yellow. You're going to get a lot of color personalities, which I always love seeing that, because you're going to see how 2 different people are very, very successful. 2 very different people, very successful. So make sure you get on it tomorrow. I think that's all we got. If you guys have any questions, you always know Rochelle and I are here. This will be up later tonight, you guys, because by the time I've been having some downloading issues with my internet. So if anybody missed it, just let them know. I will try to get it up. It'll be probably more like towards like 5 or 6. But I'll try to get it up as soon as I possibly can, unless it downloads really quickly before I have to run out the door. So fingers crossed, but my internet hasn't been my best friend lately. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining Rochelle and I. We'll see you guys all next week.